some of these critics, these pundits.
I absolutely adore them lads. I have unbelievable time for them, but they're a great bunch, but it's not acceptable.
I'd like to play the hard man when they're on it. It's not very pleasant when you're trying to manage a team. All you're looking for is a bit of civility and a bit of decency, but they just miss you like you know, you have nothing to do with the bloody occasion.
Oh, hang on, a late weather report. It's not sunny Melbourne, unfortunately. It's out the window from Johnny Kennedy of the Long Hall Pub in New York, who's in Augusta, and it's absolutely pissing. It's horrific weather. Oh, you can hear it there. Sorry, the sound is up.
I saw that there was like a...
Good morning, Johnny.
So he's obviously in Georgia.
Yeah.
So there was like a tornado ripped through a part of Georgia the other day on Tuesday. It looked absolutely terrifying.
The reports earlier in the week, as Nathan told us, noted meteorologist Nathan Murphy, it'll be grand for Thursday. It doesn't look like it's going to be grand. So we'll see. Maybe it'll be a later than expected start. Will, good morning to you from sunny Offaly.
Yeah, it actually is lovely here. The sign's up for Shane Lowry. You're talking about Seamus Power and loving his county and so on. Shane Lowry posters up all across the town in Tullamore and in some of the pubs as well, hoping that maybe the rain might help him to have a good finish this Sunday.
That's class. They just put posters up and go, yeah, go on.
Pretty much. I think a lot of them were kind of put up by the Chamber of Commerce back around the Open, understandably, and then for the Ryder Cup. And seems the same printers have got the job for his latest run to Augusta this time around as well. So, yeah, there's a bit of a kind of a party atmosphere around Lowry this week. And his old club, Esker Hills, are having their kind of annual Augusta fundraiser at this stage. I think that starts later on today, ahead of the coverage starting on the TV. So yeah, there's a real kind of buzz of excitement about Larry this week.
All right, well, fingers crossed he can do something. Right, the hurling. Let's get to this, Will. How's it going? How have the debates been on the podcast about the power rankings in recent weeks?
Yeah, it's like there's a very different approach with the two guys. So Paul Murphy is very reasonable and conservative, and he's taken championship potential into account when he's looking at where he's going to rank his teams. And James Scale has been happy enough to just hot take off the end of every round of the league and just say, right, Wexford got beaten by 19, let's put them down to 7th, and let's put Waterford right up on top, and where are we going to put in Limerick? So it's been lively debates between the two. We'll be doing our big bumper championship preview this weekend, which will be out around 7 o'clock on Monday to listen to, and you can watch the video next Tuesday. But I'm intrigued to see where the guys think the teams are at, because now we're looking at a championship which has rolled around a lot quicker, Jared, than usual off the back of the league. So I feel like we've got a really good feeling about league form going into the championship, but some huge fixtures on the first 2 weekends of the championship. Galway against Wexford particularly, Waterford's going up against Tipperary, which is a huge game for Tip if they're going to have a chance to come out of Munster, because it's very difficult at this stage to call the three teams coming out of Munster particularly. But I think as we'll get into the rankings here, Leinster is going to be incredibly difficult to call for the three qualifiers as well. Yeah,
I do wonder if it's going to be a completely different championship because the weather and the top of the ground and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's a possibility it's bad weather all the way from now until the end of the hurling season, and that will just mean that some teams won't have the advantage that they do have when the weather is that broiling sunshine that we saw for a large portion of last year's championship.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, the split season has brought this along where we're now getting used to the second week of July being the end of the championship, as opposed to really when the hurling championship gets going with quarterfinals and semi-finals. So everyone's going to have to adjust. A lot of teams are going to be out of action even by the end of May when the group stages come to an end in the round robin section in both Munster and Leinster. So it's intriguing to see who's going to come out. Maybe I'll just jump into where we are towards the bottom of the table then, because we haven't had an update for a couple of weeks because I was off, but the dust is settled now at the end of the league, so I think we can be more conclusive about the places. So in 24th place we've got Mayo, who are relegated to Division 3 for next season. Very disappointing campaign for them, no wins at all, and Tyrone will replace them in 2023 in Division 2B. Wicklow, very disappointing campaign. They stayed up just ahead of Mayo in the relegation final, but there was a lot more expected of Wicklow in Division 2B this season. They're in 23rd. Unchanged are London in 22nd. Thought they were going to be in real relegation trouble when they were hammered by Donegal in the first round. It was 3-16 to 8 points, but London rallied with some good results at the end of 2B. They just missed out on the semi-finals, but were safe of relegation, so they say 22nd. Donegal, one of our big jumpers. I think they started the season in 24th. They're going to finish it in 21st, winning 4 of their 5 games in the regular section of Division 2B. The only defeats that they had, they lost to the eventual champions Derry, and they were 1 point defeat to Sligo in the semi-finals, but a really positive start to the year for Donegal. Sligo Sligo, who got to the final in 2B and beat Donegal by a point in the semi, they're up to 20th place. Player to keep an eye out throughout the summer, Jared O'Kelly-Lynch. He scored 4 goals and 35 points across 5 games in the league, which is remarkable scoring from the Sligo chief scorer there. Meath come down to 19th place. They were relegated to Division 2B. You'll remember they started with that win against Kildare, which looked like it was going to be a good starting point to stay in Division 2A for next season, but went on to lose their next 4 games and they were relegated. 18th place are Derry, who are unchanged. They're the winners of Division 2B. Beat Sligo in the final last weekend, 123 to 215. Building very nicely on their run to the Christie Ring Cup final from last summer, and they're up into the 18th place. They're unchanged from our last rankings, but have jumped up as the season's gone on. Kildare jump up after staying up in Division 2A. They got a win against Down, who got to the final. They had a draw at the end of the campaign as well, which saw them avoid relegation following a loss to their neighbours Meath in the opening round. So Kildare did well to stay in Division 2A. One of the real disappointments...
Sorry, hang on. You should all follow Dermot Ling on Instagram. He took the Kildare hurlers up to the Hill of Allen, and they went foraging and camping and cooked a raw deer and sang songs and swam in the sea. So I'm telling you, big things are coming for the Kildare hurlers this year.
Interesting. Not just the Naas players coming back in, but this retreat may well have been the reason for their upturn in form towards the end of the campaign. But yeah, they stay in Division 2A for next year. Moving on to our 16th to 9th then. 16th place, one of the real disappointments, lads, of this year, Carlow, heading into now a 3rd consecutive year in Division 2A for 2023. When they got relegated in 2020, the feeling was that their stay in the 2nd division might be a short one. Again, they were in second place. Sorry, go on.
So some of the fallers are worse than the others?
Yeah, you've got some in pink.
Oh, really? That might well be just the wrong colour saved in Photoshop. But yeah, Carlow.
I was like, oh, Offaly and Antrim, you've decided something special about this.
Yeah, Carlow should just be red in their falls and down. They were second in 2021, so that was the year that there was a straight promotion where Offaly finished top and there was no league final. They would have been hopeful of getting to the league final this year, finished up in 4th place and missed out in a place in the final. So that draw against Galway a few years ago feels a long time ago now for Carlow. Kerry are down.
We don't have to do all of these. Well, you're grand. Let's keep going.
We go to the top. They were the McDonagh Cup finalists from last year. They would have been hoping to reach the Division 2A final.
Give us a word on Offaly. What do you think of Offaly's?
All right, Offaly were relegated, obviously. They lost the one game that mattered. They wouldn't have been expected to win any of the games in Division 1A, but they would have been expected to put up a much better performance against Antrim in the relegation playoff. And real problems, Oisín Kelly still not back from injury. They've got no primary possession winner in the forward line without Oisín Kelly. Teams have run through the middle, and that's what Antrim did in the relegation playoff. So it looks very difficult for them to overtake Antrim in the McDonagh Cup. Those two teams meet in the first round of the McDonagh with Antrim at home.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be difficult for Offaly to reach the final.
Okay, so I see Clare in 9. Let's look at the rest of it in its totality, so we can Tipperary are 8, the 8th best team in the country. Dublin are 7, Galway 6, Kilkenny 5, Wexford 4, Limerick 3, Cork 2. Oh, right, Waterford number 1. I think okay, where you
Sorry, explain to us what are the changes here exactly. Where have Waterford gone from up to 1?
So Waterford in the last rankings, which we did middle of last month, I think we're in 2nd place, and they've gone up now to 1st. They've overtaken Cork. Understandably, after the way they played in the league final, I think Waterford at this stage, lads, look like they are very realistic championship contenders to Limerick. I would still have Limerick as the favourites going into the championship, but you cannot ignore what Waterford have achieved during this league. Like, they're averaging 30 scores a game. They scored, again, 4 goals in the league final last weekend. They're just... sheer lethalness and single-mindedness to go for goal is remarkable. So 15 shots they've had on goal over the last 3 games, they've scored 10 goals. So all of them were really, really well taken last weekend. They were boosted by the fact that Stephen Bennett came back in, scored 2 goals and 11 points. They've got Jamie Barron back in training. They look the best conditioned team in the country right now, and also the team who've got the best options across their panel, which is something that Limerick maybe don't quite have if we're looking at the attrition of a round robin and the amount of games that will be played in a 40-day period over the next while. So if you're a Waterford fan, you're really happy. And when I was talking to Michael Ryan, the former Waterford boss, at the weekend, I said, how do they kind of keep an edge on this now? Because there is going to be expectation that Waterford are going to do well. He said the key is Liam Cahill. He thinks Liam Cahill is now the best manager in the country, and he says there's no chance that Liam Cahill will allow Waterford, for the players at least, to lose the run themselves after what's happened this year in the league.
I think John Kiley is still the best manager in the country at the moment. I mean, obviously Brian Cody was, and maybe Brian Cody's doing an even better job than everybody to get them to where they are. But like,
there's every chance you're right. But like, have we not just made a point on this show a couple of weeks ago that it's impossible to know how good the great managers are? Like, how great was Jim Gavin, how great was Brian Cody? Yes, there's no question that they were great, but the level of their greatness is hard to quantify. Like, how do we know that Liam Cahill actually just isn't the best manager in the country?
Oh yeah, look, this is me giving Michael Ryan's opinion. Listen, I actually think that Liam Cahill has to go on to win All-Ireland to be considered ahead of Kiley in any way. Look at everything that Kiley's won over the last 4 years, where Limerick have been almost perfect. It's not just been the 3 All-Ireland titles that they've collected. They've also competed, with the exception of this year and the COVID year of last year, exceptionally well in the league. They've run off Munster championships. We saw the best comeback win in recent years against Tipperary last year when they were really up against it. What defeat have they had outside of that? One semi-final against Kilkenny where Kilkenny really rattled them. That's remarkable consistency.
That Tip game needs a 30 for 30.
Yeah.
I think we just kind of glossed over it. It was a massive bomb going off.
Yeah.
Tipperary have never been the same.
No, and even the characters on both sides, like the sheedy roar at half time.
Yeah.
That's like a...
The empty stadium, the nearly empty stadium, but still enough people for you to go, what's going on here? And the red card that wasn't. A big moment. Big moment.
Kyle Hayes' goal, which is one of the best goals we've ever seen in Championship as well. It's just a remarkable game.
Yeah, well, this obviously is interesting. Like, if we'd gone back maybe 18 months and Waterford had put up this sort of league, we'd be like, okay, that's Limerick's kryptonite right there. Goals will beat Limerick. It does feel that after last year, though, Limerick had got to a level where it was like, it doesn't matter, Limerick can now add a goal to their game. You mentioned the Kyle Hayes goal and the goals that he scored last year. That seemed to have been something that they worked on last year. So are they actually just ahead of the curve here completely, and no matter what Waterford can do in terms of getting green flags, it actually just won't matter if Limerick hit that level again?
Well, the kryptonite's an interesting point, because Limerick supporters will be the first one who will be listening or watching to us this morning and will say, look, the last few times that Limerick have met Waterford in meaningful games, Limerick have come out on top. Yeah. And we didn't get to see them play each other in the league this year. So that makes that game in the second round of the Munster Championship all the more intriguing. That
Where is
you're
it?
looking at a Limerick team, lads, who've had 3 or 4 weeks now to get everything right after the league finished. I think of all the teams who would have wanted to play in the knockout stages, it didn't really matter to Limerick because of the bank of work that they have over the last 4 years and the amount of winning that they've had. I'm sure that they have been able to just fine-tune the little bits and pieces that they need to get right for Championship. And if they can keep their, we talked about their flaws in the last few updates on the power rankings, but if they can keep 15 men on the field, they still have got probably 3 of the best 5 players in the country right now. They've got the best starting 15. The only real doubt you'd have, maybe Peter Casey's injury takes a bit away from their forward line, but with the one hand that takes away, the other hand give it. And Colin Neal has been brilliant for them during the league.
Yeah.
He looks like a real find and could be a championship starter. Played really well for the Limerick 20s last night in their win against Clare. So I think Limerick are not too far off where they were going into last year, and they'll be very quick to point out they started the league very slowly in 2021. Middle of the summer they were the best team.
The 23rd of April, that's a Saturday evening, 7 o'clock in the Gaelic grounds, that game. So hopefully that's a complete sellout. Damien says it's 27 degrees and sunny in Brisbane. That sounds about right. That's what we're talking about. Rory says, good morning guys from sunny Madrid. A little bit of hyper atmosphere here after last night's performance. Tori says, listening from sunny Zurich, looking out onto Zurich Lake, it's a mood booster. It makes listening to ye complain a little easier.
Beautiful spot.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. The FIFA museum just around the corner, of course, but
27 quid a pint.
Yeah, worth every penny.
Brian says, which county has the best combined football and hurling power ranking? Ordinarily, it would have been just one answer. It would have been Cork, but it's probably Dublin now, is it?
Galway.
Where
Dublin are ahead of Galway in your rankings.
Where are the Dubs? Can we stick that back up?
Oh yeah, no, sorry, it's a Dubs.
7th place.
It is a Dubs.
And you have to move up 4th or 5th, though?
Yeah, 4th. So
very briefly, I think it's clear from your list. It's Cork coming out alongside Waterford and Limerick.
Should be, based on what we've seen so far. But loads of doubts about Cork, lads, based on the way that they've defended, particularly against Waterford last weekend, where they left the door open so often for Waterford to run through them. I kind of agree with Owen Cadigan's assessment, and he's just out of the Cork panel, so he knows them far more intimately than I do, that he thinks there might be too many stickmen in the Cork defence and not enough defenders who are there to actually stop players coming through. Cork will play really nice hurling. They will come out with the ball. These are all the things that we've praised throughout the league. They've got so much firepower up front. But last week you'd have to really question the lack of intensity in the second half at Semple Stadium, and also the way that they defended. Similarly, Wexford, who've been really good and actually had the best defence in the regular section of the league, were exposed by Waterford and left wide open in that game in Nolan Park when they were routed. So they're big question marks when you're only a few weeks away from Championship. You don't quickly solve them.
Yeah, I'm not writing them off on the basis of that performance. I think that it's fixable in terms of sweepers, and there's a game plan that you can fix for that. I think Why they didn't do it against Waterford, I'm not sure. That would definitely give you cause for concern. But I still think they're going to come out. But in Leinster, I don't have a clue what's going to happen.
No, neither do I. I mean, like Kilkenny really improved after their defeat against Tipperary. That was understandable when some players were coming back in from a combination of injury and playing with Ballyhale in the All-Ireland Club Championship. The fact of it is that Kilkenny have found two players in key positions in Mikey Butler and in David Blanchfield. David Blanchfield was probably fined in the league at wing-back for Kilkenny. He was brilliant throughout the campaign. And Kilkenny beat Waterford in the last round of the league to qualify. All right, they let 6 points slip against Cork at Páirc Uí Chaoimh, but again, they did okay to get to the semi-finals. Quietly, they've been kind of building along. They really shell-shocked Dublin when they met in the regular section of the league back at Parnell Park, which would indicate that Kilkenny might have Dublin's number. But who's going to finish in the top 3 places? I think Kilkenny are going to be 1 of the 3, but it's very difficult to tell whether it's going to be Wexford, Galway, Dublin who are going to come along with them.
If Galway don't make it, is that a disaster for them, or is that just an indication of actually there's long-term, deep-seated issues there?
Well, just to layer another question onto that, Will. The expectation after Henry took over was this is potentially number 2 team in the country.
Yeah.
So I would say but maybe that's just that external noise painting it as a disaster. But I would say it surely is, no?
No, look, I think they had a mixed bag of a league. Like, on the positive side, you would say they went to the Gaelic grounds, they matched Limerick physically and beat them, and were really impressive that night a couple of months ago. Then, look, they had kind of indifferent results after that. Losing to Wexford meant it was always going to be difficult for them to qualify for the semi-finals of the league. And look, their last few games didn't really matter because they knew with 2 rounds to go that they weren't going to qualify for the knockout stages. I thought they were pretty decent. I still think they've got so much talent, particularly across that forward line, that Galway can be really good. There's no doubt that they could be a semi-finalist at the end of this year. I'd be surprised if they beat Waterford or Limerick. But then again, they might not have to beat Waterford or Limerick later this year, depending on what happens in Munster and who comes out there. But I don't know. I'm kind of thinking on the face of the talent that they have, Galway should come out. But I've been fairly impressed with Wexford, with the exception and the very important caveat: performance against Dublin in the Walsh Cup final, performance against Waterford in the semi-final. Everything in between that was really good. And for Dublin, pretty much everything outside the Kilkenny game was pretty good. So it's going to be a right old fight to see who comes out of those 3 teams, because I think there's 2 places available for those 3.
Yeah. All right, Will, good stuff. Not bad power rankings, I have to say. You know, you've certainly saved some face as the season has worn on. Congratulations, and I'm looking forward to your championship edition.
Can I say a very quick word to Down, lads, who won the massive jumpers? Down went up to 13th place. Very unlucky not to be promoted. This is the vagrancy of the league, where there's only 1 place for the teams in Division 2A to go up to the top flight for next season. Almost got promotion for the first time since 2007 to Division 1. Beat Kerry, beat Westmeath in the regular section. They've got a lot to build on in the Joe McDonagh Cup. I know I had a few Down supporters onto me seeing where they would go. They've gone up ahead of Offaly, Kerry and Carlow, so really good year for Down.
Comco says Tipperary getting major disrespect here. I mean, it might be right though. Like, it'd be a surprise for them to come through, given what we've seen and the injury problems they have. And Shifty Lad says, Will, most underrated presenter, producer out there. Hurling Power Rankings are great stuff. Eric Donovan, podcast producer too. Always a great listen.
Wholeheartedly. Well, although it's kind of like describing Paul Scholes as underrated. It just it's underrated so much. We respect the Will O'Callaghan level here, Shifty Lad.
I can assure Shifty Lad as well, that is not a burner account of mine.
Wow, I mean, that would be that'd be quite the revelation.
It would be quite the revelation. I'm trying to stop my headphones being ripped out by Hank at the same time underneath my chair, so it's definitely not me writing on YouTube at the same time.
We still haven't done Hank's GA predictions yet.
No, and I did record a test video with him as well. I have to try and find 2 treats that he particularly likes exactly the same, because he gets confused if you put 2 that he's kind of indifferent about, and he kind of goes, why are you trying to give me 2 of them? Just give me 1. So once I can work that out, I will video one up and he can do some predictions ahead of championship.
Thanks, Libby. Yeah, championship ready Hank is what we need.
Are you giving him some screen time here this morning, you know, to help this get an extra 10,000 views?
Can do, yeah. I know Colin Boog in the background was having a look earlier when he was ripping my shoes. But,
there he is.
He's getting bigger.
He's getting very big now at this stage, yeah. He is. He's probably ready for his breakfast around about now, which it seems to be my headphones. But yeah, no, he's a good boy. He generally behaves himself, lads.
All right, well, we'll let you both go and have your breakfast. Well, good stuff. Thanks a million. That's Hurling Power Rankings.
I absolutely adore them lads. I have unbelievable time from, but they're a great bunch, but it's not acceptable.